Hello all, this is Al Finch back with another dive into Barlowe's Guide to Extraterrestrials. In this series, I like to look at Wayne Douglas Barlowe's Guide to Extraterrestrials from 1979, which features great aliens from science fiction literature. I like to talk a little bit about the work that the alien comes from, and yes, that includes spoilers for all the materials involved. I also like to talk a little bit about related media. If you enjoy the original work that this creature can be found in, what else can you look to find something similar? Finally, I also like to talk about how you can use the creatures in this book in your role-playing game. Today, I am going to be focusing on the Old Ones, which you can find as a part of H.P. Lovecraft's At the Mountains of Madness novella, originally published in 1931. This is one of my favorite works by Lovecraft. By no means an expert. I haven't yet read all of Lovecraft's work, but of the things that I have read, it's been among one of the items I enjoy the most. In the novella, the Old Ones are ancient aliens that come from other places, other realms. They've flown through space to colonize the Earth. They're extremely adaptable creatures, extremely intelligent. They can live in land, in sea. And in the story itself, we have an expedition that finds an old colony kind of buried under ice and snow in the Antarctic. This particular being isn't, I think, directly encountered so much as kind of described as a dead thing, an extinct species. And again, I don't know all of Lovecraft's work, but I'm not sure that they're referenced much. What is referenced in other stories often are the Shoggoths, which are creatures that the Old Ones created. Part of the reasons why the civilization of the Old Ones fell is that the Shoggoths, which are these kind of intelligent amoeba-like beings, were created by them as slaves, and they revolted against their masters. So it's a related creature that I'll probably also talk about in this video. Now, if you want to read about the Old Ones or the Shoggoths, there's plenty of places that you can find stories about them. Of course, we have our original Lovecraft. If you enjoy Lovecraft in general, you're probably well aware that there's been a lot of collections of his work and of the work of other authors. So I highly recommend tracking them down. If you're specifically interested at the Mountains of Madness, you can find it as a separate book pretty easily. Maybe you want to look outside of Lovecraft's work. I know while I enjoy some of his writing, I can find his prose to be a little difficult to get through. Maybe more modern authors are your kind of thing. I might recommend Michael Shea. Michael Shea is more modern, although he's no longer with us, unfortunately. This is Demiurge, a collection of his work that was put out in 2018. This particular edition is edited by S.T. Joshi, who is something of a Lovecraft Cthulhu mythos aficionado, at least to my understanding. And it also happens to feature cover and interior art by one of my co-creators. If any of you are familiar with my book, Big Puppet, Aaron Alfrey was the artist for that. He's also the artist for Demiurge, and I really enjoy his work, and I was glad to see it here on a collection of the works of one of my favorite authors. This book doesn't have stories that include the Old Ones or Shoggoths exclusively. There's lots of different stories in there, but at least one of the stories, called Beneath the Beardmore, definitely includes both those creatures. It's well worth a read if you can find it. I also really enjoy the work by Brian Lumley that has been done in the Cthulhu mythos. His Titus Crow books I have found fairly entertaining. This is a compilation of two of his books, The Burrowers Beneath and The Transition of Titus Crow. The character Titus Crow, I think, could best almost be described as a Doctor Who style character who ends up fighting with the otherworldly aliens that make up the Cthulhu mythos. A little less bleak than Lovecraft's take on things, given that, Lovecraft's books, you don't always overcome the evil. At least so far, Titus Crow has managed to come out on top in the books that I've read of this series, which started in 1974. Maybe you're not into books so much. Maybe you just want to see giant amoebas eating people. Well, if you're into Shoggoths and want to see them take down people, why not track down the original The Blob? This was made in 1958, directed by Irvin Yeworth and Russell Doughton. This, of course, features a kind of weird space thing, amoeboid-like creature that comes in on a meteorite and is subsequently discovered by a group of unruly kids who try to warn a town and then are ignored by the general population until the blob actually shows up and starts, eating people. And it's good fun. There was a remake in 1988 that is more modern and more gory, if you're into that type of thing. I like them both. I often reference the blob in some of my works. How would you go about using these things, the old ones and the Shoggoths? Well, there's a lot of material already out there. If you're into Lovecraft, chances are you might be into the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Originally came out in 1981. If you have these editions, this happens to be the third edition of that work, you can easily find the old ones or elder things, statistics for the game within those books. They have, of course, statistics too for the Shoggoth as well. So here we are. The Shoggoth, again, is shown often as an amoeboid type creature. The blob, not as smart as the typical Shoggoth, but in any case, fun. Maybe you're not into Call of Cthulhu. Maybe you're into Dungeons and Dragons. Well, I mean, you could try and track down a copy of the old Deities and Demigods book. The first printing from, I believe, 1980 does have the Cthulhu mythos in it. Here, the old ones are called primordial ones, but they're most definitely the same creature, and they have stat blocks and descriptions of how they act, and they're paired up with their servants, the Shoggoths. Again, complete description and stat block. I know these might be hard to find, given with weird copyright issues and things like that. This particular version of this work was not reprinted. If you want something that's easier to track down, that is in print and can be applied to Dungeons & Dragons style games, I might recommend Realms of Crawling Chaos. This is by Goblinoid Games and was originally published, I believe, in 2008, but is still in print. You can find it in places like Drive-Thru RPG, and it does have descriptions and stat blocks for the elder things included in the work. And I'm certain there are Shoggoths in here as well. If I go digging deep enough, I I didn't. Here we are. There's, of course, the stat block and picture for the Shoggoth as well. All right. Those are it for the directly related things. I do want to do kind of a tangential item here. It's, of course, personal interest, self-promotion. Bear with me. If you enjoy Lovecraftian-style works that look at the downfall of alien civilizations, you might want to check out my book, Temple of the Wurm. In here, we feature an alien race that is in decline, nearly extinct, that your group can interact with. They're not wholly evil, but they do see themselves as above humans. They experiment on people. You can see the results of one of their experiments here on the cover. The aliens in this are a type of two-dimensional being, very much like a kind of intelligent jellyfish. It sounds silly, but I like to think that they've got actually a pretty good grounding in what a two-dimensional being, that's what they are, would actually end up being like if you encountered them. If you like weird science and science fiction type elements in your games, and throw in a nice mix of the Cthulhu kind of creepiness and alienness, I highly recommend Temple of the Wurm. I think your group might have fun with it. All right, everybody. Thank you for going through another set of aliens from my series. I hope you enjoy this. If you enjoy Lovecraft, or have recommendations for Lovecraft pastiches and artists that kind of give us a more modern take, please go ahead and share in the comments below. And of course, if you've got novel ways of using Lovecraft's creations in your role-playing games, I'd love to hear from you too. All right, I believe that's it. Ta-ta for now.